The Kingdom of Happiness. The Kingdom of Happiness. Focus question. Is it important to measure happiness? Introduction. What is happiness? Happiness can mean many different things to different people. The people of Bhutan think of happiness as being content or satisfied. The leaders of Bhutan believe this too. They think happiness is more important than money. That is why the Bhutanese government asks its citizens how happy they are every few years. The government uses this information to improve life for people in the country nicknamed the Kingdom of Happiness. How fast facts about Bhutan. Bhutan is in the Himalaya mountains. The native language is the Dzongkha. Many people also speak English. For centuries, Bhutan defended its border with bows and arrows. Today, archery is the national sport. Bhutan has a king, but also has leaders who are elected. Growth and happiness. Every few years, Bhutan gives citizens a survey about their happiness. Bhutan's Fast Happiness Survey took place in 2007. However, the idea of tracking happiness came about long before that. In 1972, a new king was crowned in Bhutan. King Wangchuck was just 16 years old. The young king loved his country and wanted to help it grow while remaining true to its vows. King Wangchuck knew that other countries tracked growth using GDP, or gross domestic product. GDP measures the value of all the goods and services provided in a country. However, the king did not believe that using GDP was right for his country. Buying and selling were not a drive force in Bhutan. The country has many farms and villages, but few factories and cities. Bhutan is also mostly a Buddhist nation. Buddhists believe this happiness is an important step in leading a good life. For them, being happy is not just about money. To achieve happiness, they believe a person must examine and improve many areas of his or her life. King Wangchuck wanted all of Bhutan to focus on those things. He created a plan called Gross National Happiness (GNH) to guide Bhutan's growth. 4 Pillars of Happiness. Gross National Happiness, or GNH, was based on 4 ideas or pillars. The first pillar was about how people were ruled. The second pillar looked at how people worked and played together. The third pillar was about preserving Bhutanese culture, while the final pillar looked at people's role in the environment. These 4 areas affect everyone's lives and sense of well-being. Bhutan's leaders believe these 4 pillars must be in balance for their people to achieve happiness in life. The king and his ministers considered all 4 pillars when making important decisions. Gross national happiness. The measurement for gross national happiness is based on Bhutanese values: good governing, well handling of money and growth of society, strong support for the Bhutanese way of life, care of the national world. At first, the 4 pillars were only simple suggestions for the Bhutanese people's happiness. Nothing was measured, no data captured. The signs posted around the country cheerfully reminded citizens to help us develop our GNH country. Citizens tried their best to do so. People led simple lives and seemed content for the most part. Citizens dressed in traditional clothing. They sat quietly and meditated for a few moments each day. They cared for and enjoyed nature. Families spent time together. Bhutan continued as a quiet country, protected from the modern world. Then things began and changed. In 1999, Bhutan decided to let television and the internet into the country for the first time. Bhutan's citizens began to learn more about the world beyond its borders. Outsiders were attracted to the country's untouched beauty and peaceful lifestyle. Many came to visit. Bhutan now had one foot in the past and the other in the modern world. Bhutanese children watched television and played video games. Citizens began using cell phones. The country's leaders worried that the old traditions and values would be lost. If that happened, the original sense of what brought the Bhutanese people happiness might also be lost. Do you know? There are no stoplights in Bhutan. One was put up in the capital city of Thimphu, but it was removed. Citizens felt that a stoplight was just too modern. Instead, a traffic officer directs cars through the city's downtown. Measuring happiness. Bhutan's government decided it needed a way to keep track of and improve happiness. If it wanted something more exact than just the four pillars. A measurement system would help the government keep track of happiness and deal with changes. The Bhutanese Ministry of Planning went to work. First, they created 9 areas or domains that were based on the four pillars. The domains were then broken down into dozens of categories. When considered together, the domains and categories give a complete picture of happiness called the Gross National Happiness (GNH) Index. Next, the government created questions about G&H areas. People were asked questions such as now how much do you enjoy life? The questions were put together in a survey for the Bhutanese people. Each type of answer had a number. These numbers were added up to get a score for each person. In 2007, the government tested the survey in some areas. In 2010, the survey was ready to be given across all 20 of Bhutan's districts. Survey teams traveled to mountain villages, valley farms, and cities. That year, more than 7,000 citizens out of over 700,000 provided information about their lives. This information was analyzed using the GNH index. The higher the number, the greater the happiness level. The survey found that women, farmers, and people who were uneducated or elderly were the least happy. The government began to improve health care and daily life. Then another survey was done in 2015. Bhutan compared the results of the two surveys and learned that its citizens' overall happiness grew by 1.8%. More than 43% of the population was considered very happy. Is everybody happy? One group of people in Bhutan who were not included in the survey were the Lhotshampa. They are Bhutanese citizens of Nepali descent who lived in the southern part of Bhutan. They came from Nepal in the 19th century to farm the rich land. The Lhotshampa practice Hinduism, which is different from Buddhism. In the mid-1980s, the Bhutanese government introduced a campaign requiring all citizens to wear Bhutanese clothing, speak Dzongkha, and practice Buddhism. During the 1990s, tens of thousands of Lhotshampa fled Bhutan. Some went to Nepal and settled in camps. By 2015, close to 85,000 of them came to the United States. Many hope to return to Bhutan someday. There were certain areas, though, that showed a decline. People did less volunteer work. Fewer people thought tradition was important. The Bhutanese government plans to use the information from the survey to increase happiness. They may, for example, hold festivals that ask for communities to join in ancient traditions. The goal is to have 100% deeply happy population someday. A world of happy people. Other nations around the world have taken notice to Bhutan's GNH index. Some have made their own to track their citizens' happiness. In 2007, Thailand created a national happiness index similar to Bhutan's. South Korea and Great Britain also developed their own scales similar to Bhutan's index. In 2009, a big company took a happiness survey of people in the United States. In 2011, the United Nations or organizations of countries around the world did a study of world happiness. The United States printed its first World Happiness Report in 2012. The report ranked countries based on ideas like those used in Bhutan's GNH index. That same year, the United Nations officially declared March 20 the International Day of Happiness. Why March 20? On that day, the sun is lined up with Earth's equator, and day and night are equally long. This day represents the Bhutanese king's belief that balance is the key to national happiness.